Um, Hello, everyone. I will now present my argument. The argument for realism as a self is an ever changing entity. The Buddhist epistemological perception of self or personhood can be summarized as the five skandhas: form and the sense organs, sensation and the emotions experienced, perception and the ability to discern objects and deem them real or imaginary, mental formation or volition, and impulses that determine our actions. And the fifth skandha would be that Buddhists believe consciousness is linked to awareness. With the traits of a person listed, I'll proceed to state the problem that is metaphysical nature of a person. Controversial terminology that has been used prior to this composition are body, brain, mind, soul, and consciousness. The corporal body is the form which is responsible for the physical interaction with the material world. The brain operates as if it were an invasive artificial intelligence capable of high intelligence operation, like an operating system of a computer. Like the operating system, the brain acts as an interface that the hardware or form and the software or the non-physical may interact. The issue in that claim is that it is claiming that there is a non-physical. Although the brain is a simian invasive component responsible for mental activity, how much responsibility does the brain have aside from conjuring the thoughts due to brain states? Also, the brain in this situation is responsible for the nervous system. Is the brain perception of material objects or another constituent of the complex person? If the person is a self, the person is comprised of at least one mortal part. Then the person is mortal, hence the self is ever changing, because most of the factors or constituents of a person are ever changing. How much of the person is actually consistent over time? As we observe the self over time, we recognize we undergo vast disparity in the different features of a human person. The vastly different fo- we are vastly different from what we were at age 5, from what we are at age 20, and on most occasions different from what we are at 40. Then at age 50 onward, we are arguably approaching old age and will be considered elderly and experience conditions that deteriorate the form, volition, brain, and levels of consciousness. What about the soul? Is there a consistent element of conscious being, or is there a mind that regulates once the person attains consciousness? Questions that are being asked when discussing the self, person, or mind are: what is the metaphysical nature of a person? And how can epistemology of a person prove metaphysical nature of the world? The metaphysical nature of the world can have three possible realms of thought as follows: direct realism, indirect realism, and idealism. Direct realism suggests that our perception has limits and that what we perceive is present regardless of what we believe. Indirect realism argues that we can perceive directly with sense data, and indirectly visualize objects and the physical aspects such as their innate mass, composition, and size, meaning we have illusory thoughts about how much something may weigh. And I guess it's kind of important that we are able to do that because it assists us or in being able to scale things, such as the weight of an object in mass, in kilograms or pounds, height and length, which would be like feet, meters, inches, centimeters, and also using moles to like determine the amount of substance within something. So indirect realism does have its points. It helps us have an idea of the world even though we can't really see it with our unaided eye. Okay, our perception can alter our over a displacement or a distance. And how can we be this certain we can perceive the vertical, indirect features what we come to know as real? The arguments from illusion and hallucination do not give direct realism a solid ground in the discussion of perception. Simply arguing a disjunction does not prove that illusions are of an active consciousness. A person does not apply logic to their conversation even when they are seeking a valid argument from their conclusion. Is logical is logic consistent in casual conversation? John Laird posits that mental logic and calculus-based algorithms arrive at conclusions via different routes, concluded this point by saying, many of the discourses we partake in result in simple outcomes, which require an average level of logic and on some occasions none. Once factual opposition is added to an argument, the proponents of an argument often waive their premises. However, orthodox logic adores the objections and utilizes those objections or interferences to fortify and lengthen their argument so they may approach the preferenced outcome. 2010. What are the different forms of death responsible for disproving the body, soul, and mind? The physical degradation of a person is visible with graying hair, receding hairlines, and increased chances of health complications, to name a few. Therefore, the physical death is undeniable since regenerating cells is an underwhelming number since regenerating cells is at an underwhelming number incapable of bodily repair. The metaphysical theories of the nature of perception are materialism or physicalism, dualism, and idealism. Notice that idealism is applicable in both the person and the nature of the world. Why is that an ideal world? Why is it that an ideal world is neither physical nor realistic? And that was my presentation. I thank you for giving it a listen and have a good day.